Do you ever feel like your work doesn't progress anything? Sometimes you put in a lot of time and effort, grinding through your life, and suddenly something comes in and destroys all your work into oblivion in a matter of seconds. Welcome to the things that you can do to help the environment in the modern days. There are always sayings that a regular average individual like you and I are able to help the environment and mitigating the effect of climate change in our lifestyles. Things like taking a bus instead of driving, bringing reusable bags to the grocery stores, or things like using paper straws instead of plastic straws. And doing these little things actually does help the environment. Taking the bus instead of driving reduces the amount of carbon dioxide released by one car. Using reusable bags and paper straws reduce the use of single-use plastics. While it may not seem much at first when one person does it, but when everyone is doing it, these actions will have significant results. I myself encourages all these kind of actions for the environment. It will bring good causes into the future. But how should one react when others are doing something that brings a huge harm for the environment?
Tonight, police say this massive warehouse fire was allegedly the work of a disgruntled employee.
Soaked in gasoline and then set on fire, as dozens of onlookers recorded it on their cell phones. That arson quickly followed by a street takeover that circled the burning Jeep.
A little while ago, a person deliberately set up a fire at the warehouse where he works at while streaming it for the internet to see, with the message that companies should pay a living wage for the workers. Let's put all the morality, ethics, economics, political, and all other aspects aside and just see the situation from an environmental perspective. That huge fire at the warehouse pumping all that smoke is incredibly upsetting. The smoke and everything inside that air is undoubtedly terrible, not just to the environment, but everything else as well. In this case, how much effort will it take for each individual actions to make up for something that was fully caused by this human action? How much effort were lost because of this fire? My first reaction when I saw this fire, aside from the safety of the people in the building, was how much unnecessary toxics and pollutions were released into the atmosphere. Judging from the look of the fire, I don't need the numbers to tell me that how bad this is for the environment. The saddest part of the story isn't that the suspect didn't get anything out of this fire, but it is the fact that all these burnings and pollutions were created on purpose. If the fire was caused by any forms of accidents, whether that's something that happened in the wild or that's caused by some mismanagement of some sort from the warehouse, then sure, it still created the same unfortunate case of the fire that caused the same amount of damage to the environment, and whoever is responsible for it should be held accountable. But at least it was not meant to be set on fire. The fact that this case was done on purpose with no decent justification whatsoever, it is just totally unacceptable. The fire was set deliberately with the purpose to do damage to the company, and consequently the environment was damaged along with it. In addition to this, the case of warehouse fire is not the only case that human actions has caused an immediate damage to the environment. What I mean by that is that a lot of things that people have done, usually in the act of violence, directly affects the environment. For instance, there have been cars set on fires in protest activities, or things being set on fire for no particular reasons. These are really all the things that could be completely avoided, so no unnecessary pollutions is put into the atmosphere, on top of the pollution that we are already putting in on a daily basis. It is particularly upsetting when seeing something completely avoidable pollutions are made for basically no purpose at all. The other pollutions people make at least have some sort of purpose to it, say driving from point A to point B, or buying food that is shipped from all over the world. At least people are getting something tangible out of doing such tasks. But just setting things on fire, destroying properties just to deliver a bad message, that is just pure stupidity in my opinion. So what does all of these have to do with the people who care about the environment? I think in the cases like these, it's problematic to the people who cares about the environment. especially to the people who are trying to contribute to reduce their ecological footprints, even just by a little. Like I said earlier, a lot can be achieved if everyone is doing something little to help the environment. My concern, however, is that what would the people think when they're working towards the change for the environment, see a deliberate destruction that causes damage to the environment? People might just stop caring for the environment and stop taking actions. Because why would a person take environmental friendly alternatives, sacrifice the benefits and convenience of their previous lifestyle just to reduce a seemingly imagined concept of ecological footprint, while some stupid person just destroys the environment out of nowhere and take out all the progress that the person did? To put it in a simple term, when people are working towards to help something and this as some random person just comes out of nowhere and destroys all the progress that the people are working towards to. While everyone can see this in different ways, I think this is very discouraging for the people that are working towards their goal of protecting the environment. Enough to discourage people to stop environmental actions, and that is problematic as environmental problems like climate change really needs everyone to take actions in order to mitigate the effects. Again, this is all perspectives. I'm sure not everyone sees the case like this, but I think this is a pretty reasonable way to be thinking, and it isn't totally wrong. No one likes to be taken advantage of, and no one likes to see their efforts go into waste because of others doing stupid things. This is another case of the unfortunate circumstances of the modern environment. So what can we do? Despite all the pessimistic things that I have just said, I hope people are still willing to take environmental actions, even knowing that some stupid people would damage the environment for no reason. It is a good thing to know the situations and understand that things like this happens in society. Sometimes this is just how it is and we can only swallow it and move on. If we give up, no one will continue the environmental actions and the environmental situations will only get worse. That's about it. Thanks for watching.